Hello, my name is Darlene. Welcome to Stand Strong, a fun, educational, inspirational, and motivational show about people overcoming life's obstacles. And these are their stories.
Hello and welcome to Stand Strong. I'm Rachel Thomas, guest host as well as producer and co-founder of Diabetic Girl Studio Sessions, and I'm very excited to be here today with Darlene to discuss her story and her journey with cancer. I would like to first set attention to the slippers that normally Darlene is wearing, but I have the honor of wearing today, which have the Stand Strong logo on it, which feels very fitting for today's show where we discuss how Stand Strong came to be and how Darlene's cancer journey has led her to where she is now. So,
hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story.
Of course.
I really appreciate it.
So I guess the first question on everyone's mind is, how did your diagnosis come about, or how did you find out about your cancer?
I was diagnosed with stage 3B breast cancer in 2011. Totally by accident. I had a severe stomach ache, and it went on for a few days, and I finally had to go to the hospital. And when I went to the hospital, because I was complaining of my stomach, they did a scan, and they went a little bit higher than they normally would to make sure they could see everything internally. And the person reading the x-rays found my cancer. And the stomach pain was a blood clot in my kidney.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds rough.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. I mean, when they diagnosed me, and then they put me in the hospital, and they said, we got to come up with a course of treatment and what we're going to do. And they told me I was by myself when they told me that I had cancer. And I had to call my family, and they all came to the hospital. And that day was, I still can't believe sometimes that
makes sense.
that I went through what I went through.
Right. And before I forget, since I forgot to do it before we introduced, today's episode is actually dedicated to my Aunt Stacy, who died of breast cancer last month. And very emotional time for me. Meant the world to me, and it was really funny. I was explaining to Darlene before we started that I actually Facebook messaged my aunt last night to let her know, even though I know she's probably never going to see it. So thank you for letting me do that as well.
Cheers to your aunt. Thank you.
So after your initial diagnosis, what were your next steps towards, obviously, like, did you do chemo, radiation? What do you think were your next steps and the parts that really defined your cancer journey?
When I was diagnosed and they came up with a course of action, they decided to do, I had chemo. I had chemo and radiation. I had chemo first, and they inserted what they call a port in my chest so that I could receive the chemo. And I did chemo treatments for a year and a half for 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. And it was, at the beginning of my chemo treatments, I fell asleep. You know, I slept. I was too sick to know what exactly I was going through. But as it went on and the treatments got less and less, I was more aware. And once I was done with my chemo treatments, as I said, it lasted a year and a half, I then had to start radiation. And my radiation treatments were every day for a half an hour each day. For 9 weeks. And a lot of people have asked me, which of the two affected you more? Well, first of all, in my opinion, either one, chemo or radiation, is very difficult. You can't say which one's worse and which one's the lesser evil. They're both evil. They have different side effects. Chemo treatments, they affect your body and they make you very tired, and you don't have any energy. Radiation burns you. It doesn't burn you right away, but it eventually burns you, and again, makes you tired and sleepy, and I had no energy, but it was tough.
So besides, being tired and feeling probably, I'm going to say, burnt out constantly. You can correct me if I'm wrong. What else did these treatments do to your body, and what kind of effects did they have on your body?
My chemo treatments, when I was going through chemo treatments, I actually went through something that most cancer patients do not go through. I gained 125 pounds through my treatment. They were giving me a lot of steroids and different medications, because at the beginning my medications weren't working, so they had to constantly change it up and switch the medicines. And when they finally found one that worked, I gained a lot of weight. And again, I was too sick to realize, you know, oh, crap, I'm gaining weight, but I was alive and I was fighting.
Right.
And that gaining weight was a huge issue. I also have rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia, and the chemo and radiation treatments magnified that. It's tough enough to live with those two sicknesses, but I mean, I don't call them sicknesses. And they're not life-threatening, they're life-altering, and chemo just made it a lot more difficult.
Right.
But I did it, and I struggle through it. I walk out my door every morning with a smile on my face, whether I'm struggling or not. No one will know that I'm struggling, because I feel that I was given a second chance. And that's how Stand Strong came about, because I was given a second chance, and I said I want to help other people and not feel sorry for myself, because there's many who have a lot worse things to go through in life than I do.
Yeah. Now, during all of this, because it's obviously a very stressful time, you know, I remember it from my aunt and other family members, where do you find that your biggest support laid? Like, where could you always get support, and no matter what?
My support, I'm very blessed to, here's where I'm going to get emotional. If anybody would have asked me how I would measure my success in my life, I would say my children. I'm very proud of the people that they have become. A lot of my support and strength came from my children, and I'm very fortunate to have had amazing friends to stand by me too.
Now, you were telling me about your grandson and this magical sticker story, and this really, really touched me. I thought this was really cool. So I know the pictures in your intro, so maybe if we share that story, because I really liked it. It was probably one of the favorite ones you've told me over the past couple of days.
Oh,
and I think
thank you.
that your audience should obviously hear this one.
Thank you.
Because I think this really lays under where you got your support.
When I was diagnosed with cancer, I'm a family person, and I used to spend a lot of time prior to being sick with my grandson. And when I was diagnosed and I started losing my hair, I didn't want to scare him, so we had to come up with a way to explain to him that Grammy was sick. And so what we did was, my daughter watched a show with him, a children's show, and one of the characters had cancer. So he kind of got a little bit of an idea, and his teachers shared his story as well, shared with him, so he got a better understanding as to what was going to happen. But I missed him so much, and knowing that he had a little bit of an understanding, he loves crafts and stickers. So I told my daughter, Grammy, tell Kyle Grammy's coming over after school today. And before I went to the store and I bought 500 stickers. And I went over his house and I said, you know, Grammy's been sick. And he said, yes. And I said, you know, if Grammy takes this scarf off, I'm not going to have any hair. And he said, yes. Before he could actually answer, I took the scarf off.
Right.
And he was somewhat taken back. Then I pulled out the stickers. And I said, do you want to be a big part of helping Grammy get better? With the magic of your love and these stickers, if you put them all over Grammy's head, everywhere you put those stickers, Grammy's hair is going to grow back. And he did, and before you knew it, it didn't even dawn on him that Grammy was sick and Grammy didn't have any hair. We just had fun, and that's how I taught my grandson that Grammy was going to be okay. It's a very special moment, and it's a very special, I hope my story and sharing the stickers will help other people who might not know how to share that type of news
Yeah.
to even an adult,
Yeah.
to a child. Yes, that's very special. And you made me cry, and I don't have tissue on.
I mean, no, I think I really like that because I was around Kyle's age when my grandmother was diagnosed. And so, like my grandmother didn't lose her hair, but something like that would have been so helpful to myself, you know, but I really tried to wrap my head around it and understand.
I'm in the process of working on a children's book. It's called The Magical Stickers. And it's a journey about Kyle and myself, and how together we realized that with the magic of love and those stickers, everything was going to be okay.
That's amazing.
So I'm in the middle of working on that. I've been working on it for 3 years now, and it's in the process, you know, editing and doing all that, because as the TV show, I'm just learning, and I'm a go-getter. If I come up with an idea, oh, I like that, then I shoot out to do it.
Right.
So I'm in the
awesome.
process of doing a book, and when the book is done, all the proceeds will be given to Camp Sunshine, which is a camp for terminally ill children and their families. It's my way of giving back.
I like that. Let's kind of switch it up and be happier now. So I understand that you have a big role in Sarah Joy Foundation.
Yes, I do.
I understand you were queened as a lifetime ambassador a couple of years back. So I wanted to take the time and sort of learn your story, share your story, and I know that we have pictures as well. So if we want to pull up the first picture. So what's going on here?
This is actually the very first time I was being crowned the Queen Ambassador for the Sarah's Joy Foundation, unbeknownst to me. I thought I was going to a dinner to honor Sarah, who had passed away and lost her journey with cancer. They invited me as a guest, and that was the first time that I have ever actually met them. Only through Facebook and sharing my story. And when I arrived at the dinner, I thought I was going to sing, meet a Facebook friend for the first time, because I have no problem with the gift of gab, have some dinner, and go home. And when I did sing, but when I was done, Charlie Alejandro in that picture stood behind me and crowned me and said, "We want you to be the face and the voice of Sarah's Joy Foundation because you have her spirit and you represent her life."
That must have been such an amazing moment for you. I mean,
oh
honestly.
my goodness. I to this day, representing the Sarah's Joy Foundation is one of the most amazing honors, and I'm very blessed to say that I represent the Sarah Joy Foundation.
So then I'm going to guess that the next picture, if we can pull up picture number 2, please, was that the next year, or?
This was actually the same year. The very first time that I've ever represented the Sarah Joy Foundation, I was asked to sing the national anthem at a cancer fundraiser for the Navigators baseball. And I sang the national anthem, and that was my very first appearance as the Queen Ambassador. I was very honored to do that. I was very nervous. My knees were shaking. I messed up the words, but nobody noticed because everybody was just so. It was for an amazing cause, and that was my first appearance being out of the hospital.
Really?
Yes, I was in the hospital 2 weeks prior to that.
Were you still in treatment at that time?
I was having side effects from my treatments, and when I was asked to do that, as sick as I was honored, and I did. So, it didn't matter that I messed up the words.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know a lot of people talk about recovering and being in remission. What do you think for you was the hardest part about those stages of your cancer journey?
My cancer journey, when they tell you, you know, you go through cancer and it's tough. The treatments are tough. And you're scared and, you know, not knowing from one day to the next if you're going to make it. And then when they tell you you're in remission, you're like, and everyone around you is like, wow, you're in remission. Okay, you're better now. That's, the chemo and the radiation treatments, they touch base on the cancer and they fix one. But because there's so many side effects to chemo and radiation, it creates so many other issues. So it's my hope by sharing my story today that people realize, or people who know someone who's gone through chemo or radiation, realize that when someone's in remission, it doesn't mean that they no longer need your support. If anything, it actually gets harder, believe it or not, because you're dealing with the side effects from the medications. You're dealing with your body changing. Your body changes immensely. And then you're dealing with the emotional aspect of because it does mess with your emotions. You know, there were times where I would cry for no apparent reason. And there would be times where I would laugh for no reason. It affects you in so many different ways. So being in remission, people still need that support because it's a different journey. It's no longer the journey of cancer. It's the journey of getting your life back.
All right, so I'm looking at this picture here that they've just pulled up. Is this part of a Sarah's Joy Foundation? Were you still sick at this point in time? Tell me what's going on here.
No, actually, this picture, I was still undergoing chemo treatments. My family and my friends started they did a cancer walk the year that I was diagnosed with cancer, and this is my team. And they had T-shirts made up, and the name of my team was Double D's Darlene Diva, because I love to sing. So that's a picture of us at the cancer walk, the North Shore Cancer Walk with my team.
That's really cool. I did the cancer walk when I was in like the 2nd grade for my grandmother, who had died about 6 months before that. So
yeah, that was a very fun day. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, so if we want to pull up the 4th picture, let's just keep going. We got all these photos. We're getting good stories from them. So this is obviously your masquerade ball that you were telling me about, and this story I also seriously fell in love with when you were telling it to me on the phone the other day.
Thank you.
It's just so awesome. Why don't you just go ahead and start talking about it?
This is a picture of my daughter and I. When I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was in September, it was around my birthday. This was September. My family knew that I've always wanted a masquerade ball. And so what they did was they put together a surprise party for me, but they called it the Celebration of Life. And it was a masquerade ball, and everyone had to dress in a mask, and there were balloons everywhere, and it was just such an amazing thing. There were approximately 175 people there to celebrate my life.
Wow.
And it was a day that I will always remember and always treasure. And believe it or not, in that photo, I was very, very sick.
Wow.
But I was so happy and could not believe that they did that for me.
And then I believe that after this one, there are a couple more photos of that masquerade ball. So if we want to flip to those, let the viewers see those.
Yes, this is actually all my female family members.
Wow.
We got together because we wanted to take a picture of everyone in their costumes. And that is all my female members, and my daughter, from my daughters to my nieces to my great nieces. That is just an amazing shot, and that's not even half of the people that were at my masquerade ball.
I can tell you that I honestly don't know as many people as there are in that picture. Like, I can honestly say that.
It was an amazing time, and it literally was the celebration of life.
So if you want to go ahead and flip to the next one. Please explain this one to me. I got this one in the email, and I was like, what is this?
That is my son, Jeremiah. I call him the Long Ranger. That is my son, and they were trying to teach me the booty dance. I don't know what it was. Don't even ask me.
Twerking?
But that's it. And I was doing it, and I said, I'm not doing this, and I walked away, and they continued to do it, and we snapped that picture because it was so funny. I tried, though.
Just not good at it?
No. Absolutely not. But they were having a lot of fun, and it was quite a remarkable day.
Sounds like it. It sounds like you have a really quite amazing family who just
really
wanted you to know that they were there for you.
I really do. I'm very blessed. My children and my friends are amazing, and anything that I do and venture, whenever I tell my family members or my friends, I have an idea. They're like, uh-oh.
Here we go.
Yeah. So.
All right, so if you want to pull up the next picture, I don't know if this is still more ball stuff, but we'll find out. Yep, so.
Oh, yes. That's actually my daughter and my son, and I'm in the middle. You can't see me because that was when I didn't know they were having a masquerade ball.
Right.
And that was, well, I didn't know up until a week before. They had to tell me a week before because I was so sick. They wanted to make sure I was well enough to attend. And that was the moment that I walked in the hall. And I saw all my family and my friends and everybody there just to celebrate me and my life. And they were giving me hugs. Telling me, don't cry, Mom. Yeah, so that's an emotional picture. Yeah, it was an amazing feeling. It's hard for me to imagine that was 2 years ago.
I bet.
2 years ago, because sitting here now, I feel very lucky, very, very lucky. And that's why I really want to be the voice for people who life doesn't come with a handbook. And it's not easy. No. And I'm a firm believer in that. We have people that come and go in our lives. We have losses of people that we love and care about. We have good times and bad times. And those are all part of what builds our character.
Yeah.
And how we choose to live our life.
Exactly.
And I feel that it's a gift, and it's worth re-gifting. And that's what I try to do.
I definitely agree with that. So if we want to go to the next picture, maybe we'll get those out of the way. There it is, the magic sticker story that we were just talking about.
There's my little man. That is my grandson, Kyle. At the time, he was not quite 5 years old. And that's him putting, believe it or not, you can't see them too well, but 500 stickers on my head. And after that, we had so much fun. He was just putting them on, and he said, Grammy, you can't take a shower. You can't take these off, because he really believed that it would help. And I had said to him when he said that, don't you worry, honey. Grammy won't take these stickers off, but if I have to take a shower, I'm going to have to take them off, but I promise I'll put them back on. And each time I saw him after that with my wigs, if I was wearing my wig, I would make sure that I had at least one sticker underneath the wig so he could see the sticker. But that's a very special picture.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I love that picture.
Now, I understand that you've been Queen's Lifetime Ambassador of the Sarah's Joy Foundation, which is honestly amazing, I think. I need to hear about this. How did this happen?
When I thought last year, Sarah's Joy Foundation, we had a dinner. We have an honorary dinner every year, and it's on Sarah's birthday. Well, it's in her birthday month in March. Last year was our second annual dinner, and I thought I was going to the dinner to crown my successor. So I was prepared to give up my crown, but when they took my crown off, they put another crown on and said, we can't do this to you. You represent everything Sarah is and everything Sarah would want the world to know. We would like to make you the Lifetime Queen Ambassador.
That's amazing.
Again, they stumped me again. I was so surprised. I had no idea. But it is quite an honor, and I will, for the rest of my life, get the word out there about Sarah's life, cancer, and do anything I can to help anyone who's going through it.
No, that makes sense. I feel like your story is so, I don't want to say relatable, but I feel like it is. I feel like a lot of people, after a diagnosis with cancer or whatever they may have, it kind of becomes a self-pity party. And I really admire the fact that you have sort of taken it upon yourself to help others and do the best that you can. And obviously you're sitting here now trying to educate people, and I really like that. I think that's so amazing and so cool.
Thank you very much. That's really sweet of you to say. I really appreciate it. I honestly, it is just, I feel very lucky and blessed. And though my life is not easy, no one's life is easy. No. We all have difficulties in one way or another, but I have always been a positive person, even before cancer. Cancer just magnified my positivity even more.
Which is truly amazing.
Thank you. I just feel as if I do know, even when I was going through cancer, if I might share with you, some of the things that I would do to keep myself going and to fight even harder, I would visit cancer hospitals with children while I was going through my treatment, because it made me pull myself up from the bootstraps and look at these amazing children, heroes. I call them heroes. If they can do it, so can I. That's another way, another place I found my strength.
That's really cool. That's wow. I mean, I think it's so important, obviously, with your situation to stay strong. I know you have that kind of support, and it's very obvious that your family made it so obvious that they were there for you. And I really like your whole, life can be bad, but I'm always going to be positive about it, because not many people who go through something like that can do that. And I really like that you're like, I don't care. I'm here. I got a second chance. I think that's really remarkable and something to be commended for.
Thank you. And how the Stand Strong show came about, I've always wanted to do a talk show. I just never had the right opportunity to do so. So I figured sharing, I had a story to share, and I know there's many others that do as well.
Of course.
And they can help and inspire people too. So Stand Strong is sharing not only my story, but others' journeys in the walk through life.
And I think that it's doing just that. I'm sure viewers at home agree with me. I do believe that this is inspiring people to either reach out or help someone they know who's been recently diagnosed, or possibly even donate. Now, we are getting the 5-minute warning from producers, so I'm going to turn it back over to you if there's anything else you would like to say or add to this before we close out for the day.
Actually, I really would. And I would like to say, first of all, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing my story and swapping seats and wearing my slippers. They look so cute. But I would like to, this would be the time that I would give a guest our logo t-shirt.
Oh, thank you.
I would like to present it to you say thank you so much for hosting the show today and allowing me to share my story.
Of course.
It is, you did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
It's kind of different to be sitting in the guest chair. Now I know how the guests feel. But you did an amazing job, and thank you so much. And thank you, viewers at home, for allowing us to share my story and how the Stand Strong show came about. And if there's any viewer at home, if you'd like to, or know someone that has a story idea and they want to share their story and their journey, please contact us at Stand Strong. It would be an honor to have you on our show. And it's time to close out.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say thank you to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for you doing a fabulous job. And for you viewers at home, as always, thank you so much for your continued support. I hope you can get something out of today's show. I hope by me sharing my story, it can help many watching. As always, remember to stand strong. Till next time.